Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into a story that's pretty incredible. It's called The Year of the Elephant, and it's all about faith versus force. What happens when a city with absolutely no army has to face down a king with a massive one? So let's dive right in.
So let's start with this question, because it really gets to the heart of the whole thing. How do you save a city when it has no army to defend it? I mean, it sounds impossible, right? It's a scenario where you'd think military power has all the advantages. But what if your biggest threat isn't another army at all?
Okay, so we're heading back in time, way back. We're in the Arabian Peninsula, in the city of Mecca. And right at the center of Mecca is the Kaaba, this ancient, incredibly sacred sanctuary. The year we're talking about is 570 AD, and this is a really pivotal moment because it's right before the birth of the Prophet Muhammad.
All right, so let's get into the main players. It all kicks off with this guy named Abraha. Now, he's a big deal, a powerful king from Abyssinia ruling over Yemen. And he's got this massive ambition. He wants his kingdom to be the center of the Arab world.
So to make this happen, Abraha builds this huge, magnificent church in Yemen. The whole idea was to pull the Arab pilgrims away from the Kaaba in Mecca. He wanted them coming to his new cathedral. But it didn't work. The people's faith, their traditions were all tied to that ancient house. And when his plan completely failed, Abraha's ambition just soured into straight-up jealousy. He makes this vow. If they won't come to his church, he'll go to Mecca and tear the Kaaba down himself.
And he wasn't kidding. Abraha gets his forces together, and it's a huge army. He even brings along this massive elephant, as a shock and awe tactic to lead the destruction. They start marching north, and they just steamroll any tribe that gets in their way. Some tribes, seeing how pointless it was to fight, even gave him guides just to save their own skin. And before long, there they are, camped right outside Mecca, a city with, remember, no army to defend it.
So what's Abraha's first move? Well, it's not a direct attack. It's more of a power play, a show of force. His soldiers ride out into the pastures surrounding the city and they grab 200 camels. But these aren't just any camels. They belong to a very, very important man, Abdul-Muttalib. He's the chief of the Quraysh, the most noble tribe, and, this is key, he's the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad.
Now, Abdul-Muttalib, who is known for his incredible dignity and leadership, he decides he's going to meet this invader face to face. So he heads out to Abraha's camp, and he's not going there to surrender the city, not at all. He's going there to talk.
So, when Abdul-Muttalib walks into the tent, even Abraha is taken aback. He's just struck by this guy's noble presence. He actually treats him with a lot of honor, gets off his throne to sit with him. He's fully expecting him to plead, beg for the city, for his people, for their sacred house. But what Abdul-Muttalib asks for, it's not what he expected at all.
Abraha is just stunned. He basically says, I was really impressed by you when you walked in, but now, not so much. You're not going to talk to me about the house, the center of your religion, the one I came here to destroy. Instead, you're talking to me about your 200 camels. You can just imagine he absolutely could not wrap his head around this leader's priorities.
And Abdul-Muttalib's reply is just legendary. He calmly says, I am the Lord of the camels. As for the house, it has a Lord who will defend it. Wow. I mean, that one sentence just draws a perfect line in the sand. He's saying, look, I'm responsible for my property, the camels. But the Kaaba, that's not mine to defend. It belongs to God, and I have total faith that its true Lord will protect it. This is it right here, the ultimate showdown between worldly power and pure, unwavering faith.
So Abraha, probably totally confused by this, gives him back the camels. Abdul-Muttalib then heads back to Mecca. He tells all the people, go, head for the mountains, just watch and wait. He himself goes to the Kaaba one last time, he says a prayer, and then he joins them. The city is left completely empty.
The very next morning, Abraha gives the order. This is it. The moment has arrived. His entire army gets ready to advance on the city, and they bring that great elephant right to the front, ready to smash down the walls of the Kaaba.
And then, something completely unbelievable happens. The elephant, the massive symbol of Abraha's power, the linchpin of his whole plan, refuses to move. It just kneels down and will not get up. They try everything. They beat it, they hit it with pickaxes, but it will not take a single step towards the Kaaba. But here's the crazy part. Whenever they turn its head back towards Yemen, where they came from, it gets up and starts walking. But the second they point it back towards Mecca, it stops, dead in its tracks. The whole army is just thrown into total chaos.
So while all the soldiers are on the ground struggling with this stubborn elephant, the real defender of the house starts to show its power. And the people of Mecca, watching from the mountainsides, see something incredible start to happen up in the sky.
Out of nowhere, coming from the direction of the sea, these huge flocks of birds appear. And they aren't like huge eagles or anything. They're described as being small, swift birds, like starlings. But here's what's incredible. Each bird is carrying 3 tiny stones, one in its beak and one in each foot. They fly right over Abraha's army, and they just start dropping these stones like little missiles. And anyone who was hit, they died instantly. The entire mighty army was just decimated from the sky.
Now, this event is so significant that it's actually recorded in the Quran in a whole chapter named Al-Fil, which means the elephant, and it describes exactly how God made the plans of the army go completely astray, and how he made them like, and this is a powerful image, an empty field of stalks, just completely wiped out.
You can imagine the news of Abraha's army being destroyed in such a miraculous way spread like wildfire all across Arabia. This wasn't just a story about a failed invasion. No, this was seen as a massive, powerful sign from God, and it had huge implications for literally everyone.
So what were those implications? Well, for one, it cemented the sacredness of the Kaaba for all the Arab tribes. It was this undeniable proof that faith could overcome any material force. And, maybe most importantly, it was seen as a divine prelude, a sign that something even bigger was coming, because the Prophet Muhammad was born in that exact same year. It also, of course, elevated the status of his tribe, the Quraysh, big time. They were now seen as the people protected by God himself.
I mean, the impact was so huge, it literally reset the calendar for the Arabs. For a while, they just stopped using their old ways of counting years. Instead, they started dating everything from this event, saying something happened 2 years after the year of the elephant, or 10 years before. It became a brand new historical benchmark. That's how big of a deal it was.
And that really gets to the ultimate legacy of this whole story. You know, what started as this moment of total existential threat for Mecca was completely turned on its head. It became this powerful, undeniable affirmation of faith. The defense of the house was seen as preparing the stage, paving the way for the prophet who would come from that very city to purify the house and restore its true original purpose.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other events in history are remembered not for the battle that was fought, but for the faith that actually won it? It's a powerful idea to chew on. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.